It's time to have this conversation. And I want to be very clear. I knew this conversation was coming. I knew this conversation was on the way. Okay. I knew. Because if there's one thing Andre Onana can bring, it is chaos. And we're talking about Andre Onana today, his performance against Nottingham Forest, because what the was happening? I'm turning a new leaf. I didn't curse at all. Andre Onana, I feel, look, I watched a lot of balls, so I knew what Manchester United was getting when they signed him. I also feel like he's gotten worse over the past couple of years. That seems to, I mean, that's obviously goes back to before he joined Manchester United, but we can't deny the effect that putting a Manchester United jersey seems to have, putting a Manchester United jersey on seems to have on everybody, particularly players that played at the Netherlands at any point in their career, which Andre Onana definitely lines up with that as well. But I was always confused why Manchester United signed him. A lot of signings that clubs seem to make is because their fans, there's an expectation they're going to sign somebody to fill a particular hole. And they just grab the first player that they can kind of think of that, oh yeah, that guy'll fit that spot. I mean, Andre Onana is a good keeper. Right? Like if you're looking at the Cameroonian national team, he's the best option you've got. You should put him out there. But even with the Cameroonian national team at the World Cup, he doesn't play all of the matches because he has a disagreement with the coach about tactical style. That is a great sign that Andre Onana is a fucking lunatic, a maniac. He's insane. Now, I know all goalkeepers are insane, but what goalkeeper do you know is going to end up getting benched because they have such a virulent disagreement with the coach about tactical style? At a World Cup, okay, Andre Onana is a modern sweeper keeper. He is also somebody that is capable of making incredible mistakes. He does not at all times look like he's a properly technically trained goalkeeper. He keeps with a different style, that's for sure. And as a result, he ends up allowing goals sometimes that you go, how the hell did that ball end up going in the back of the net? And because he just generally seems to be a bit of a head case, which again, most goalkeepers are, but he kind of wears his on his sleeve a little bit more. He's incredibly rambunctious and has a massive appetite for eccentricity and risk. He ends up making plays away from the goal as well that sometimes look reckless and stupid. And he's... there's certain types of athletes. I think of a Busquets, a Yaya Touré, right? These guys that are just so smooth. And you just feel like you're never going to get one over on them, right? You just feel like you're even when Yaya Touré was not good towards it, you just felt like you were never going to get one over on him. Even when those guys are losing, even when they're bad, even when they're old, right? Their mental edge when it comes to being a competitor is just so high. Thierry Henry is another guy that I think of that was like that. Their competitive mental edge, they're in control of their surroundings. Andre Onana, when he's playing goalkeeper, to me, feels like his surroundings are completely in control of him, and he is reacting at warp speed to try and survive some sort of hellish Saw-like experience that he's been thrown into as a goalkeeper. Then his determination to survive that is just sheer bravery bordering on insanity, right? In just vibes, right? And he can make great plays. Andre Onana is very capable of making great plays, but inconsistency is not something that you should be looking for in goalkeepers at a top level. And he is undoubtedly inconsistent. And I think every problem that Andre Onana has, it boiled over in this match for Manchester United against Nottingham Forest. I think no goalkeeper should be judged on one match. And I'm not judging Andre Onana on one match. I'm judging him on a body of work at Manchester United that I think proves that if you're Man U, you probably want to go get a different goalkeeper. I think you'd rather have somebody that's just a little steadier, right? Just steadier between the sticks. Because, I mean, you have goalkeepers that take risk. You have guys like Ederson, right? That they take risk. And every once in a while it ends up looking stupid. Right, but Andre Onana is Ederson injected with nitroglycerin, right? Like, you just take Andre Onana and just inject jet fuel into both arms and both legs, and that's what you get. Ederson, and then inject. You get what I mean. Okay, so the first incident, right, was this goal from Nottingham Forest. Now, I used to play goalkeeper, not nearly at any reputable level. I was the backup goalkeeper for the 6th best high school team in the United States, according to the rankings. But you know, that's enough. I played enough to be able to at least talk about what's happening here. This is Nottingham Forest early second half. All right, and this is a very, very, very important part of the game. It's a match that is 1-1, right? And you're just getting into the second half. And so momentum is kind of up for grabs. Anytime you're coming out of the half, first 5 minutes of a half, last 5 minutes of a half, that's what coaches always talk about, being able to win. And Onana just wasn't quite plugged in yet. There is an element to playing goalkeeper. I call it being plugged in. I'm sure other people have different ways to describe it. Where your mentality is just ready to throw yourself at the ball wherever it happens to be. And then other times as a goalkeeper, you'll catch yourself where a shot will go in and people won't necessarily be blaming you for getting it, but you're like, man, I didn't really launch myself after that ball. I didn't have that predatory desire to attack that ball wherever it happened to be, whether there's a cross, a shot, you know, whatever happened. And sometimes you have to really work to get that switch flipped so that you are attacking the ball, right? You're throwing yourself at the ball, whether it's being shot towards the goal or crossed into the box. And Onana just looks like he doesn't have that switch turned on. He's been out of the dressing room for less than 2 minutes, or at least since the start of the game. The start of the second half anyways, to make sure I say it right. And Morgan Gibbs-White loads up for a shot here. And at this point, Morgan Gibbs-White is in full shooting position, right? Top of the bubble. And Onana's not in a bad spot here, right? He's a little off his line, so he's going to be able to dive, kind of angle back to the post or dive forward if the ball's on the rise, right? His brain's going to be able to pick the angle that works best to be able to get to the ball best, and he's exactly positioned where he needs to be, which is not surprising. On a Premier League field, everything's going to be lined up immaculately, so you just need to line yourself up with the goal opposite you on the field, and you're going to be fine. He's in the right spot, but right as Gibbs-White starts to strike this ball, you see Onana's guessing, right? And this is something Andre Onana does a lot. He does this all the time, okay? And it's fine. Because a lot of great goalkeeper saves that are made are because goalkeepers read the play, right? And he's watching this play and the way that Gibbs-White is going to strike this ball, and he's thinking that's going right over here. He's thinking Gibbs-White's trying to go to his right. He's trying to strike that ball across his body, and it's gonna go in, right? And he is, at this moment that the ball is being contacted, he's dropped his left foot. He's going to launch himself to his right. He's ready to go. Right. And reading shots is so important. Knowing player tendencies as to where they like to shoot is so important. It is a massive part of goalkeeping. And it's your ability to process in those moments where most people would just be sitting waiting for the shot. When you're playing goalkeeper at your best, you are anticipating this guy likes to shoot right. He's posturing to shoot right. I'm going to dive right. Okay. That's not necessarily the mistake Onana's making, although he is definitely going very early here. You see the ball starts to travel in, and Onana is in his full plant to go to the right. And this is where he's messed up. Because you'll notice, if you've watched a lot of football, which typically if you're watching this channel, you have. The goalkeepers at this level just don't give up goals that look like this. And anytime you see a goal that gets allowed where you're like, wow, other goalkeepers just don't give up goals that look like that, it's because some technique is missing, right? And I'm not saying I had this technique, right? I'm just breaking this down because I find this shit really interesting. If you see a goal that is allowed by a goalkeeper and you're like, wow, that didn't look normal, it's because the normal way to allow goals is by this dictated technique that goalkeepers have. If you're technically doing all of the right things in terms of footwork and hand placement and whatever, goals are going to look a certain way. And this doesn't look that way because the footwork here for Andre Onana is just not very good. It's a little slow. It's a little wide set. And again, I'm not a Premier League goalkeeping coach here. This is just an observation I have that you'll see other goalkeepers be able to get their legs a little bit closer together, right, in this situation, and they'll be able to the reason that you want to do that. Sorry, I keep fast forwarding and rewinding it just to like watch his positioning again. The reason you want to keep those legs closer together is it gives you, like, if I'm wide and I'm already launching this way, you're just not able to. It's not even legs closer together. It's that stutter step right? You see goalkeepers do it. It's the stutter step so that you have a foot on the ground more often, right? As long as you have that foot on the ground and you're stutter stepping it, like duff, duff, you're able to get multiple directions here. Because this Morgan Gibbs White shot is not deflected. Like some people were thinking it might have been deflected. This is not deflected. Morgan Gibbs White shoots this ball right down the middle. But Andre Onana is so committed to his guess to go to the right that he just can't stop. He just falls over. It's an unbelievable play to watch. I mean, you're a Premier League goalkeeper. You cannot be so unbalanced in your guess that he's going to go that direction that you can't stop a shot to the right. If that shot goes here, then what you see goalkeepers do in the Premier League is swing the leg out. Okay, which means I think he's going right. All of a sudden he's going left, but I still have my feet under me enough that my upper body was headed this way, but I can swing my legs out to throw my upper body to the left, which will probably cover out to about here. Right, and you see goalkeepers give that goal up. Now, he's guessing right, but then you throw your legs out and kind of fall to the left just to give you some coverage. But this ball should never, ever be going in. And every goal is so important that having a goalkeeper that's inconsistent with their footwork at this level or inconsistent with their ability to cover a shot directly at them. You know, I'm not talking from point-blank range here. I'm talking from like 24 yards away. That's just brutal. I mean, it is brutal. And he can make great saves that other goalkeepers don't make, but the cost of that is pretty significant. It's really significant. And then the other part of it is just his pure insanity. So this is what I'm talking about in terms of not being like a fully, like your Yaya Touré, Thierry Henry, Sergio Busquets kind of smooth, in control, professional athlete here. This is Andre Onana right at the end of the game. Nottingham Forest is up 3-2. Ton of pressure on this, and a foul occurs. It occurred, or an offside or whatever. And the ball's supposed to basically be back here. So Andre Onana runs up, grabs the ball, and tosses it forward. He realizes it's a little far, so he walks it back to the center line. Right. First of all, he's obviously there's an old quote from John Wooden. He's a college basketball coach. He said, "Be quick, but don't hurry." And I always thought that was brilliant. He would like do it quickly, but don't hurry. He ends up wasting time by kind of throwing this ball further forward, and then he's got to bring it back. And the worst part of this for Onana is that by throwing it too far forward, he now has the attention of the referee on where this ball's being placed. Because sure, refs typically don't like to slow the game down a ton to adjudicate exactly where a foul was. But this is egregiously not where the foul occurred. So the referee tells Onana he's got to bring the ball back. So he goes and grabs it. Come on. Seriously. Do you see how little Andre Onana moves this ball back? I mean, the ref can't let that go. You're gonna get a failing grade as a referee if you let that little amount of ball movement go. You see the ref stand there and just go like this. He's just standing there like that. Like, what do you want me to do? You moved it back 6 inches, right? The line that the actual foul was at is all the way back here. Now, there's like a circle that you can put the ball down in and the ref will just let it go for the flow of play. And good players don't know how to take advantage of that. But Andre Onana is just being insane with this. And so he backs up. And then, he doesn't know how to appease the referee in this situation. He backs up, right? He's backing up, and then he throws it forward. It's where it was before, Andre. And the referee's got a whistle, and he's just pointing. And you've got, I think it's Mazraoui coming over to protest, but the referee is 100% in the right here. This is a huge advantage, right? This is this is like at least 2.5 Andre Onanas laying down all the way back to that line. He is way further ahead than where this ball is supposed to be. And not to mention, he's just obviously disrespectful. The referee can be safe that saying he's not the one that's wasting the time here. It's Onana, who was asked to reposition the ball. Like, hey, that ball's nowhere near where it's supposed to be. He moves it 2 inches backwards. And then no, that's not right. And then he backs up and then tosses it forward with backspin again. Obviously, the ref's not going to let that slide. And then Onana backs up and then throws it forward again. And you can see how close the ball is to the line. And look where the ball is. This is the stupidest thing I've ever seen. The ball is in the same spot it's been the last 3 times he told you to move it. You just backed up even farther and then threw it forward even farther. What do you mean you're pointing at it? What do you mean? That's not even close. That's not even the same area code. Like he's pointing at it here, this face, like, what do you mean? I moved it back. He's actually moved it forward from where the ball was last time. I mean, it's unbelievable. And the referee's like, dude, there's a line on the field from the way that it's cut. It's on that line. Okay, you've got to bring the ball back there. And then he walks all the way back there and then throws it forward again, which, like, at this point, you're just trying to antagonize the referee. Just place the ball down. We've wasted nearly 30 seconds. There is a minute left in this match. Okay, Andre Onana just is not able to process the information of what's happening in a way where he's going to be able to help his team win. Okay, and he's still tossed it forward, but the referee's satisfied that he's moved the ball back enough, and he ends up letting him kick it from here, even though I wouldn't have been stunned if the ref told him to back it up just a little more because of how, far forward Andre Onana threw that again. And of course, he takes the kick. It's way off to the side. Header goes straight out of play, and that's basically the end of the match. It was a wild day for Andre Onana, and I can't, it's just not good. But also wildly entertaining, because that was just one of the funniest things I've seen on a top-level professional pitch in a long time.